I've tried it on this computer separate from the projector. I don't know if the projector's eating up the audio. If this demo doesn't work, I'll just record the whole thing again outside of class. I like to pile extra work on myself. It's my hobby. Okay, here we are. This is CS3, Fall 2025, and we are going to try to initially make a stack class. And if we're going to make anything at all, we need to use Sublime Text. This is the same editor that you use in the lab. Oh, and by the way, this is a Mac. It's not a Linux machine. No update, please. Let me work with what I got. And I'll, since I am who I am, I'll start off File and accepting suggestions for the name of a file if we're going to try to write a stack class. Stack.h needs the header file. We need to spell it correctly. And I'll put other comments later. And class, stack. So far, so good. And before I forget, a semicolon there. What operations do we need? Push and pop. Now, what kinds of animals, vegetables, minerals go in the header file stack.h if we're making a new class? The functions, push and pop. I'm sorry? The prototypes. Excellent. And another question. Why aren't these turning cool colors? I thought Sublime was a context-sensitive editor, meaning that it knew the C++ language.
You need to save
File. Yes. File. Save as. And holy cow. Not that. I can't see that. This is pink on my screen. Let me see if I just save what happens. No. This is what I see. Well, you know what? Let's, since I'm losing my sight anyway, I'll let you tell me. It stayed intact on the big screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, file. I don't know. Save as. What is it doing if I just type in stack.h?
Oh, it's appearing on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
But in the right place?
Yeah.
Okay, and what folder is it putting it in? Well, I'll just keep going and move them where I need to. What? Leave me alone. This is this is a good simulation of what you got to do in the lab. You got to keep saying, no, don't install, don't download, all that stuff. So I got to do that here as well. Well, it won't let me save it there, apparently. Let me try again.
It did.
It made it
It did give it the colors.
It did give it the colors.
Let me see if I get that message again. Okay, now we can try to do prototypes, and so I can keep from losing my mind and know what we're doing here. This is prototypes. And you tell me, because I do not, in spite of rumors, I do not have eyes in the back of my head. What's the return type for push? Void. Does it need any parameters? Top. It better know where top is already, right? Top is going to be a private variable. Before I forget, I'll jump down here and put until further notice, only one and only private variable. I'll call it private section because we might even have private functions later, who knows. And private section, top, to be flushed out later. What do we need to know to be able to push something on our stack? The thing. I'm being generic. See, that's not a poetry word. New value. We're going to push a new value. Now, I've already I don't know if I should get into this in great detail yet. I'll get into it in moderate detail. I've already violated the idea of making this as general as possible, because now I'm setting this up as if the push operation is only going to work with strings. I won't be able to use it with integers. I won't be able to use it with JPEG images or fruits and vegetables or anything else. How can we genericize that? I'll invent a word. How do we make that more general? Does anybody remember the trick that we used with earlier classes? In earlier classes, we've got a namespace problem here. With C++ classes in earlier college classes. Remember this? Oh, yeah. It all comes back to me now. And all you got to do, I believe, is type def. And we want it to be string. And I'm not sure about the computers in the lab, but for safety, and yes, this is growing from the middle outward. That's when you're doing top-down development code, you just kind of brainstorm and get stuff sketched out, and then you polish off the details as error messages reveal them to you, or as you remember to do them and you figure them out. And I've talked myself into forgetting what I was doing. I think I was going to do this. # include the traditional. We're probably going to use IOStream because we're probably going to want to have a print debug, even though that is not one of the standard functions of the stack abstract data type. IOStream, and just for safety, I'm also going to include string. I don't think it hurts anything to do that. And on some systems, and again, I don't know about the one set up in Linux lab, on some systems, those are completely separate files, IOStream and string. And in other systems, IOStream itself includes string. So again, I'm doing that for safety, and so that I don't have to qualify every one of them, I'm going to say using namespace std, if I can spell it. Already, complication arising. Who has let me just embiggen this. Who has a question about anything on the screen so far? Okay. And I hope I am recording this. And if I am, then it will go on YouTube. So you can go back and review it at half speed or double speed or whatever suits your fancy if you need to review all this stuff. What's the prototype for pop look like? Bool, because it might fail. Anytime there's a possibility a function can fail to do what it's supposed to do, make it a Boolean function, which means there might be extra work to do for the parameter list. What would have felt natural as a return value now has to be passed in as what? The reference parameter, the shoebox to be filled in. And what's the data type of my reference parameter? D-A-T-A-T-Y-P-E. I could put string, but again, don't customize it. Customization is great for Italian sports cars. It's a kiss of death for C++ classes, because that means you can only use it in one particular application. And this needs to be ampersand, because we do want to be able to change the value of it. And I'm going to call this pot value. I'm probably going to regret having such long variable names, but for the moment I'm going with it. Now, question on those two prototypes. That's all we got to have a fully functioning stack. And again, we might decide to add more private variables. As time passes, we might decide we need to add some more functions as well. Top, it's not going to like it like that. I'll put a semicolon. That's not going to like it any better like that. What's the data type of our private variable top? Integer? Top? It's a pointer. Pointer to something. Pointer to what? Well, it's not a stack object, If we're not careful, we'll have the stack object pointing to itself, and we don't want that. We're going to have to make a node, a homemade node. It's not going to be happy with that. Why not?
You need to define what the node is.
What is the node?
Structure.
Structure, S-T-R-U-C-T, curly bracket, semicolon before I forget. And what needs what? Name and a weight and a color. No. A very generic node structure that needs a named node. Now then, what kinds of things need to go in here? It's to make one of those nodes that you see drawn on the board. You refer to our pictures.
Space for whatever data type we have.
Space for the data, and it looks like I'm calling the data value instead of calling it data, so I'll stick with that. It's got to be data type, so there's consistent across the board. Data type value. So I can get new values and popped values and every kind of value. Anything else? Pointer to a node, and our traditional conventional name for that is next. We got a lot of gunk there already. And all we've done is talk very generally about push and pop. Ideally, it won't get much more complicated than that, but for now it kind of is complicated. Save, I'm not going to go to the pink screen again. Command S or Control S? Control S? Is it going to explode my computer? I hope it saved it. Command S. Command S. It's asking me to save it again. I've got the pink screen again. Man, I hope we can figure out how to quit that.
Is it because it's connected?
Probably. Yeah, it doesn't do that when I'm not connected to anything. That's a surprise. That's a feature of our new technology. That's not a problem.
Here, have a nice pink screen on that one. Try to save it.
Okay, who has a question about anything? That is an initial version of our stack.h header, also known as interface file for the stack class. Does everybody get that? Now, I'm going to risk flying blind again after I make this. I'll go to File, Save As, and I get a pink screen. And you tell me, am I deleting just the H?
No, it's deleted.
Deleted the whole thing? Okay, then I got to type it in stack.cpp. Is that what you see on the board? Okay. Bada-bum, bada-bing. Now I've got a stack.cpp file. And I should have put interface in the other one. Here I'll put stack implementation, because that's what it is. Mental note. I need to go back and do that. Do we need all the include stuff in the using namespace std if we're doing the implementation file?
Yes.
Kind of, sort of, but not exactly. We are going to get IO string. We are going to get string pulled in. We are going to get using namespace std, but they're not going to be here. How do we get that along with all the other stuff we need to know about stacks?
Include stack.h.
Yes, include. Now, watch what I can do, watch what I can do. I put that inside double quotes. How is that different? Aside from being not in pointing brackets anymore, what does a double quote say?
They're looking for it, the computer's looking for it locally instead of.
Look for it in the same folder where I am. Actually look for it in my working directory. You can find out what your working directory is in the Linux lab, pwd, print working directory, and it shows you which folder you're in case it doesn't show up in the prompt. Now, we don't define the stack's data type. Now, if you recall, I hope we talked about already what the include file does. It pulls in all of that text I just now typed into stack.h. It pulls every bit of that in and replaces line 4 with a complete copy and paste of the stack.h file. So I certainly don't want to redefine the stack class. I certainly don't want to redefine a node structure, and I don't need to define a private variable. So almost all the implementation file goes away. I better keep these. How come? I need to fill them out. I need to turn them into real functions. They are mere prototypes at this point. So rather than a semicolon, there's curly brackets, and no, a function does not need a semicolon after it. Some of these things you just have to get used to in C++. The functions here do not need semicolons after the curly brackets. I'm going to run and gun, and by that I mean I want to get some code up and running as fast as possible. So rather than go through all the gory details of trying to reverse engineer all the logic of drawing those pictures, what can I do to have just bare skeletal functions that will go ahead and compile? Does anybody remember? I could return 0 if it's an integer function. If it's Boolean, I can just get out of here by doing what? Return false. And what do I do with a void function? Nothing. Does anybody remember? Again, review. What is it called when we come up with these skeletal functions that do the bare minimum they have to do? And this is so that we can test and see if we've set up our prototypes correctly and all that kind of stuff. Stub functions. These are stub functions. Okay? So you can start off by writing a class that's nothing but stub functions just to see if you can get a main program off the ground. And let me go ahead and rather than closing and opening and everything, I need to make this smaller. Not that much smaller, but somewhat smaller so I can still see the menu. And file new. You can have more than one file open. This way I can avoid the pink screen. The CPP is still there, and I'll probably want to save all instead of saving from this point forward. Here will be my main program, file, and this will be example 1. Is that what we're on? It's kind of a stub function of the main program. I know it's got to have int main void. If I want to have be able to test my stack, I've got to have a stack variable. S, very generically. And this absolutely, positively is not going to be the final version of example 1. This is almost like I said, it's a stub main program to see whether or not I set up my stub functions correctly in my class. And let's just do some pushes and pops and see. I'm going to label what I'm doing. Pushing, what do you want to push? Words. Workers. Pushing words. And then I'll push words. S dot push. Now here I do have to use a specific data type. In your application, you don't want to be generic. You want to use the data type that is required of your whatever your application wants. So I'm going to push words. And while I'm at it, I'm going to press my luck. That's what I'll do. I'll push my luck. See out. Pushing my luck. And how. And I should put inlines there to make sure they get printed out. The buffer gets flushed. Otherwise, if the program crashes, I won't see this output. There. Didn't even do any pop operations. It's got to work with push eventually, so we might as well go ahead and try to make that work. Have I saved that as example 1?
Yeah.
Okay. Guide me, please, because it's going to go pink on me. Does that look right on the big screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't keep doing this. Where did it save those? Me neither. I made a new folder, but I don't know where they went.
Don't you have to include stack H and such?
You know what? I think we are going to have to # include stack.h. Anything else like that while we're up here?
Include stack.cpp.
Oh, no. No, no,
Oh,
no.
no.
Thank you for saying that, but no. Why don't we include the source code?
I forgot about that.
What's going on here? Why don't we include the .cpp file? How is it going to be able to see our functions if we don't include that? We do need to include IOStream while you're thinking about that. Which means we are going to need to say using namespace std. Why don't we include stack.cpp? What will that do if we include stack.cpp? It does the same thing as with stack.h, which means it goes out to disk, finds stack.cpp, and copies and pastes the entire thing right here inside my ex1.cpp source code. Why is that a bad thing? Well, I might be working on a larger program that has 4 or 5 source code files, and they all include stack.cpp. That means every single one of those files is going to have its own copy of the functions push and pop, and that will not link together. It will not let you have multiple functions that have the same name. It won't let you put clone functions in the same source code file. So what we got to do is set it up so the compiler compiles the stack stuff separately. It compiles example1 stuff separately. Then the linker sews all that stuff together. It connects our main program to the function calls in the CPP file for the stack. Does that make any sense at all? We don't ever include source code, only header code file, not the actual functions, not the .cpp. And this business of where are these things, this is getting old quick. Let me see. Control S? Is that what saved it? Command S? So now I don't know where they are. ex1.cpp. I was trying to put them in my new folder, but I bet you a nickel they didn't go there. Nope, there's nothing there at all.
I think they just saved on the first folder thing where it says HD. I think they saved on that, but I'm not sure.
One moment, please. I hope someone doesn't mind that I'm borrowing their chair. Oh! Okay. File, save as. Purchase, heck, no, I almost said a bad word. Heck no. I want to save this, not CS2. Well, I didn't put it in my favorites yet. I think I put it in downloads. Do you see CS3 full? No. I'll just make a new folder here. In downloads, I put it in downloads because that's, huh?
I see it like right at the bottom, just barely on screen.
CS2.
Oh, I put it there, CS2444. This, barely. Okay. Save as, and I don't know why it puts the comment in there. I don't want the comment as part of the file name. It is like watching a movie from the front row. I just wanted to be example1.cpp for crying out loud, please! Oops, I didn't mean to yell in the video. Okay, and you are going to be file saved as, this is stack.cpp. Why are you going there? That is not where I want to be. Oh, I know why, because that's where I saved it the last time. It thinks I'm going to put the same file in the same place as I was last time. It's there, right? Holy moly. And no, I want you to be named stack.h and nothing else.
This is stack.cpp.
Oh, this is stack.cpp?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you. Okay. Save, for crying out loud. And I don't, who knows where stack.h is? Let me see if it'll let me open a recent file. Oops, not like that, it doesn't. Sublime, Sublime, come back to me. Okay. File. Open recent. What on earth? Fall 2024? That's not recent. Those are recent. Oh, where you said it put it just on the bare H drive? No, it's not here. I don't even know what folder I'm in. Macintosh HD.
Yeah. Oh wait.
Could you go to recents?
I think I looked at recents. Try it again. File. Open recent.
Oh, no, I meant the recents folder in your
Oh.
file.
Oh.
It is just not cooperating. Holy moly. Well, you know what? I was going to turn that into the header file, but I'm not going to let it win. I don't know why it wouldn't show up in these recents. Hello, Mr. Gardner. Okay, I should have just been sitting up here from the beginning so I could save it in the right place so that Max wouldn't hide it from me. It's ridiculous to have to do this. But sometimes we got to do what we don't want to do. You can help me. Keep an eye on the screen, and when I make boo-boos, tell me, please. No. Stat type. And this was popped value. Does it look okay so far? Can you tell?
You need to comment out for it. Or maybe not.
Comment out what?
Never mind.
Yes, I am. Thank you. You'll know which parts of the video to fast forward through, huh? Does that look like about what we had before? Except this? This is stack.h, right? I bragged too much about no technical difficulties at the very beginning, and it punished me with a pink screen. Well, let me see if I can even locate them in the console. I might as well just stay up here. Other stuff is going to blank out. Holy moly, that's tiny. CD downloads. CD CS2444 fall 2025. It took both of those. LS. And there they are. Now, when I'm G++ing these, I will not only need ex1.cpp, I'll also need stack.cpp. Because remember, those are compiled separately, and the G++ will also invoke the linker, meaning it will tell them that if they compile successfully, then link those together. Place your bets. What do you think will happen? Nothing. If you guessed nothing, then you are correct. I think it always takes, whoops, how about a bunch of error messages? Scroll up. Always, I mean, if you're me, you always look for the very first error message and hope that a bunch of them go away when you fix that. Unknown data type, type def, data type, string. Does anybody know what, does anybody know what that error is? It's right here. I think I got it backwards. Oops. If that wasn't the problem, then I just made it worse. File, save. And a trick that some of you know from the lab, well, first of all, I hit return a lot to separate my glob of error messages from the next glob of error messages. But you can use the arrows on the keypad over here, the up arrows and down arrows, to go back through your previous commands. And that way you don't have to always type in the tedious G++s and all that stuff. So here's the tedious G++, ex1.cpp. Yeah, that's the one I want. Oh, look, most of the errors did go away. Push is a private member of stack. Implicitly, well, push is a private member of stack. Push is a private member of stack. That's a subtle error, yet it is still an error. Why does it complain that push is, I can see it right here. There it is right there inside the stack. Why does it complain that that's private? Does anybody know? That's a little bit of an advanced question. Here's a hint. Everything inside a class, by default, is private, unless you do what? Unless you put public. Got that? Let's try that. Command S, which I hope is safe. Blank space, up arrow. Ooh, weird stuff that I can't read. Shift Command plus, maybe? That was Shift Command plus, by the way. The linker. Oh, good to hear from you, linker. That's the first we've heard from the linker today. Undefined symbols. It can't find the push function. which is unfortunate because I think that's the only thing I've called so far in example 1.cpp. Yes, that's the only stack function I've called. Why can't it find it? File. Let me see if I can find the CPP file. File, open. There they are, stack.cpp. Why can't it find that push function? There's not much to it. Can someone describe for me the lifestyle of the push function? Is it a private little secret function for the stack class? Or is it a freewheeling function with a life of its own out in the wild? If you answered B, you'd be correct. This push function is not part of the stack class. Even though I put a prototype for it in the stack class, why doesn't the linker think that this push function is part of the stack class? Anybody? Everybody? I'll type while you think, okay? It all or some comes back to us. Why do I need that? Or do I need that? Yes, I do need that. Why do I need that? What does this say about the push function and the pop function now?
Is it saying that it's the push and pop from specifically the stack class?
They are member functions specifically of the stack class. They are not freewheeling function citizens of the world. They only exist inside a stack class object, and that's why we've got to have stack : for push to be a member function, stack : for pop to be a member function. Please, oh please, oh please, let's get a clean compile before all of this has to shut down for at least for the class period. I think Command S, why can't I remember that? Blank, 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 up arrow. Please, oh please. Oh! Now, to run it, you'll notice I didn't say minus lowercase o. The minus lowercase o is an option on the G++ command. All of the Linux commands, if you learn options that you want to use, it's always minus. ls minus L means give me the long version of the list program which is showing you your directory. There are all kinds of options that you can get by using the man command. MAN is short for manual, and if you type that in, then after that, if you put what you want to find out about, man space G++, man space ls, man space pwd, it shows you everything it knows about that command, so you can pick and choose the options that you like. If I don't put minus o, this is a weird business here, ls will show me that there's a new file called a.out. If you do not specify an output for your executable file, by default, it always goes to an a.out file. So to run this, I'll have to say ./a.out. Pushing words, pushing my luck. Did it do what it was supposed to do? Well, it's not supposed to do a whole lot. It did call the push function. I said stuff that I was pushing, but who knows whether it's in the stack or not. Actually, we know, because we are the secret writers of the stack class, and we know that push doesn't do a darn thing right now. But it will. Let me see. If I can hurry up and do push, I'm not even going to try to do pop. No, I can't hurry up and do it, because I don't even have, I can put the prototype for it. I don't even have what, so that I can see what's in the stack. I don't even have a public function that will show me what's in the stack, and sort of a convention. That is not a full-fledged card-carrying member of the stack class. It's just for our use in debugging. So I might want to call it what? Print debug, you're exactly right. Nothing in, nothing out. It has one job. All it's supposed to do is show me what the stack currently has in it. Now, I'm not going to leave it hanging like that. Before I forget, I'll run over here and make a not a prototype, but an actual function print debug. Look at me, I did it again. And that's all. That's all I need for a stub function for print debug. So I can call it. It's a function that exists. And if I want to push it after I push those two things, I should be able to do that. S dot print, well, doesn't think so, print debug. Void all the way around. Command S. I hope that's saving everything. I don't know if it does. Command S. Command S. Back to the drawing board. Returns, up arrow, not that. If I run, what's going to happen if I run a dot out right now?
It's gonna run the last.
It runs the last executable I made. If I made changes to the source or the header or anything else, I've got to go clear back and compile it again, and it looks like a clean compile. And when I run it, I suppose it's calling print debug. All I know is there are not any errors in it right now. Okay, this is far from being a completed example 1. I will finish this code, the stat class, and I'll also write the example 1 program. It's not such a big deal. I will do that outside of class, and I'll send you links to the videos on YouTube when those are finished and uploaded. Okay? It might very well be a valuable thing to spend time on in class, except we have got to get to some new stuff. So I want to go ahead and kind of close off this example, but I'm not shutting down questions. Please watch the videos that finish this demo. I'll try to get them done today if I can, but please watch those videos and ask me any questions you have about them. I had to get this far today in class because your lab is to write stub functions for your first official programming assignment, which I'm about to hand out as soon as I shut this down. Any questions before I stop the video? And cut.